All right. So let's work under the assumption that Vice President Harris will be the Democratic nominee this year. Cindy's going to put on screen, and please do not say anything. Don't blurt anything out. Cindy's going to put on screen a slide with 10 possible running mates for Vice President Harris. But she's not putting any names on the screen. Okay? Please don't blurt anything out. Take a minute, look at all those photos. I'm going to ask you a few questions. Everybody see the pictures okay?
The right-hand side is I can't see.
You see five across on both?
But their pictures are cut off on the 5, but I think I know who they are, just even though I'm seeing only a quarter of the screen.
Okay.
Is it because of the pictures that are in the way? I think you can drag that. You can drag that, grab and drag it to see who those people are under the.
Okay. I think I know who they are anyway, though.
Okay. Got it. So everybody's able to make determination about them. Okay. Cindy, please keep them up on the screen so we can talk about it. By a show of fingers, who would say that none of these people are familiar to you? Any of you say that none of them are familiar? Okay. So by a show of fingers, who would say just 1 or 2 of these people are familiar to you? Show of fingers would say 1 or 2 are familiar to you. Okay. So all of you can find that more than 2 are familiar to you. All right. Who would say that 3 are familiar to you? Crystal, give me a best shot. Which ones are?
I'm really horrible with names. I recognize the faces.
Okay.
Mark Kelly is the only name that comes to mind, only because he was an astronaut, and that's my thing is astronauts. But okay. There are 2 others. The gentleman, as I'm looking at him, Mark Kelly, the one on his right, and the one directly below him are the 2 that I recognize besides him.
Okay,
horrible. I'm horrible with names. Yeah.
The one woman is familiar to you.
No, just to the left of her is an older gentleman with silver glasses.
Got it.
And then the African-American gentleman. Those are the ones that I recognize.
Okay, great. Chris, who do you recognize?
Gretchen Whitmer on the far right. J.B. Pritzker is like the second guy on the bottom, and Pete Buttigieg second guy on the top.
Okay. Teresa, who do you recognize in this crowd?
Buttigieg, Cooper, Kelly, and Newsom.
All right. June, what about you?
Buttigieg, Newsom, Gretchen, and the guy in the bottom row middle, I can't think what his name is.
Okay. Got it. All right. So now Cindy is going to show the names. Change the slide. There we go. Does this clarify for anybody? Okay. Quick show of fingers. How many of you would say that Andy Bashir is familiar to you? None of you. Pete Buttigieg, show of fingers. Familiar to you? All 7. Roy Cooper, show of fingers. Who would say he's familiar to you? Roy Cooper. I got 2. Mark Kelly, show of fingers. Say he's familiar. All 7. Wes Moore. 1 of you. Okay. Gavin Newsom. 6 of you. J.B. Pritzker. I got 2 of you. Josh Shapiro. 2 of you. Tim Walz. 2 of you. Gretchen Whitmer, 5 of you. Okay, great. By a show of fingers, who would say that if Harris were to pick one of these people as her running mate, and you could tell me which one it is, you'd be more likely to vote for Harris for president? Is there anybody on this list where you said, wow, if she picked him or her, my likelihood of voting for Harris would go up? Is that true for any of these 10 people, for any of the 7 of you? Not a single one. Okay, so just to be clear, none of these 10 people move any of you closer to Harris.
Are you giving us only the 2 choices again of Harris or Trump?
No, it's the race with all 6 candidates. Tracy, do any of these people move you to Harris in a 6-way race?
In a 6-way race, no. But I do like Cooper. He's the governor here in North Carolina, and he's done a decent job.
Okay, so hang on a second. So she picks Cooper. That doesn't make you any likelier to vote for her?
No, because I like her.
Okay, got it.
And if she picked Newsom, it would make me think even less of her.
Okay, fair enough.
Sorry, but that's my opinion. That's
you're entitled to your opinion. That's why I'm asking for it. Let me ask the question in reverse. Is there anybody on this list that if she picked that person, you'd be even less likely to vote for her? Like she's digging a hole for herself by naming this person. Like, oh, 3 of you. Okay. Audra, who's yours?
Pete, I think he's been ineffective in his current position. And I didn't like him when he ran for president or was seeking the presidential nomination in 2020, I think it was. I just find him ineffective, and that would just sink it for me, definitely.
Okay. June, what about you?
Well, it was Pete and Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom's has no control in California. He's ineffective. In Wisconsin, we pay high enough taxes, but I can't imagine if we are living in California, and it's way too liberal.
Okay. And what's your issue with Buttigieg?
I just think he's not done a good job. And again, I didn't care for him during the 2020 debates. I thought he was snide.
Okay. Teresa, who's your person that would push you away from Harris?
Newsom.
Why?
For the same reasons of how he's governing in California.
Okay. One last question, I'll let you go. Is there anyone not on this slide who Harris could choose who would make you more likely to vote for her? Some dream person with you. Jason, you got one. Who is it?
Mitt Romney.
Okay.
How old is he?
He's 77, I think.
If she picked Mitt Romney, you'd be likely to vote for her.
I'd vote for her if she picked Mitt Romney, a unity ticket. If she did a unity ticket, or maybe some other moderate Republican, maybe Liz Cheney, something like that. I would be strongly likely to vote for her.
Okay. Anybody else have a dream person that if she picked them, it would move you closer to Harris? Audrey, you have one?
Well, yeah, if she picked Nikki Haley, and
Yeah.
then I would vote. She could have my vote if she did that.
Really?
If
I
it's a
agree
pie
with
in the
that.
sky, if it's a pie in the sky idea, why not? Talk about a unity ticket. You can't. It would be impossible to beat.
Okay. Show of fingers. I'm asking this with seriousness. If Harris chose Nikki Haley as her running mate, how many of you would vote for a Harris-Haley ticket? 6 of you would. Okay. Do you give up all the objections you had to Harris would go away if she chose Haley?
No, my objections wouldn't go away, but I could stomach them a lot more.
Got it.
Chances of getting a ticket with 2 women on it is not going to happen in this country.
Okay. Got it. And just before I let you go, any last reasons why you would choose Harris if Haley were her running mate?
I think it would show that she's willing to moderate, that she's willing to reach across the aisle, that it's going to be, the working together, and that, like, Democrats have always been saying, democracy's on the line, but they haven't done anything to attract my vote. They haven't moderated at all. They haven't shown me that they're willing to do it. So if they pick Nikki Haley, I would know that they're serious, that they're willing to compromise to save democracy. They actually believe it.
Got it. All right.
Should
Well,
we
you've
be
got,
able to back up that foreign policy program, whatever it's going to be, because neither candidate right now is telling you what their policies are. It's just craziness. It's just all craziness. There's no truth being told.
I want to assume for this last part of our conversation that Vice President Harris is actually going to be the Democratic nominee. Cindy's going to put on screen a slide with 10 possible running mates, but without their names shown on screen. Okay? Take a look at them. Can everybody see them okay?
Mhm.
Great. So don't say anything yet. Just take a look at the 10. All right. By a show of fingers, who would say that none of these people are familiar to you? None of them. Okay. By a show of fingers, who would say that at least that one or two of them are familiar to you? Just one or two. 4 of you would say 1 or 2 are familiar. Okay. Melody, who's familiar to you?
Mark Kelly.
Mark Kelly. Okay. Barbara, who's familiar to you?
Gretchen Whitmer, she's our governor.
Okay. Ronnie, what about you?
I got Buttigieg, Governor Cooper, Mark Kelly, Gavin Newsom, and
Oh, hang on a second. No. I just want to know if you could name 1 or 2, not 4 or 5.
oh, I'm sorry.
Fiera, who else can you name? You're muted. I'm sorry.
It was Buttigieg too.
It was Buttigieg. Okay, got it. So, show of fingers. I'm sorry. So I'm sorry. Next thing, Cindy's going to show the same slide, but with their names added on top.
We can't see the ones on the right side. They're blocked with everybody in the group.
Okay, you can. All right.
There's
well,
8 of them, right?
Well, there's 10. There's 10. So,
Okay.
So we can't see the last 2.
my apologies. So the far right next to Mark Kelly is Wes Moore, the governor of Maryland, and in the bottom is Gretchen Whitmer in the bottom right corner next to Tim Walz. Okay. My apologies if you can't see all of them on the screen. Would any of you say that none of these people are familiar to you? All of you recognize at least someone. Okay. Who else is familiar to some of you? Yeah, who's familiar to you?
Tim Walz.
Okay. Jennifer?
Newsom, Buttigieg, and Shapiro.
Okay. Zach?
I mean, I've heard of Bashir and Cooper just because of the coverage on them being potential candidates for VP.
Okay. Got it. By a show of fingers, who would say that if Harris were to pick one of these people as her running mate, and you could tell me which one it is, you'd be more likely to vote for Harris for president? Anybody here where if you said, if Harris picked this person, you'd be in for Harris? Particularly those of you who said you're likely to vote for Trump. Did any of these people cause any of you to shift? None of you. Nobody would shift with any of these as running mates. Is that clear? Okay. Help me now with this. Who, if Harris picked that person, it would push you further away from Harris. Jennifer, who if Harris picked this person, you'd be less inclined to vote for her.
Newsom.
Okay. And why?
Just his political views to me are quite liberal and too far from the center.
Okay. Anybody else have any other people here who are non-starters? You'd be even less likely to vote for Harris, or it would move you. Zach?
I would agree with Newsom, just California politicians.
Okay. Got it. So if I'm hearing you correctly, there's nobody in this group, for those of you who are likely to vote for Trump and not for Harris, there's nobody in this group who would cause you to reconsider your vote for Harris. But there are a couple people that if she chose, you'd be even less likely to vote for them. And that's particularly Newsom. Okay. Got it. Is there anybody on this slide who Harris could choose who would make you, who's not on the slide, who would make you more likely to vote for Harris? Is there a person who you'd say, oh, if she only picked this person, I'd be in for her? Anybody? Let me take this off the screen, Cindy, by the way.
Could she choose a Republican?
Well, who would you pick?
Probably Nikki Haley.
All right, so let me ask this question.
Oh, that's interesting.
As a hypothetical, show of fingers, if Harris chose Haley as her running mate, who would vote for that ticket in November? Show of fingers.
Gosh, that's a hard one.
Harris and Haley, who would take that ticket? Keep your fingers up. I need a count. I'm sorry. Okay, 5 of you. Wait a second, Melody, weren't you going to take Harris to begin with? Wait, put your sound on. You're muted.
Yeah, I was.
Okay. Would you wait a second? So would you choose Haley and Harris and Haley?
I don't know. I'd have to do some research.
Wait, hold on a second. Didn't you tell me before you were going to take Harris over Trump?
Yes.
So why would you have to do research if you had 2 people that you really liked? What would be the issue?
Yeah, but you're putting 2 parties together.
Oh, okay. So that becomes a concern.
Yes.
Okay, got it. All right, but at least 5 of you would take Harris and Haley. All right. Let me try a couple, but since I have a couple extra minutes here, let me do this. I'm over. I'm going to do it very quickly then. I'm sorry. How many of you would take Harris and Romney against Trump? Romney's the running mate. How many of you would take Harris and Romney? None of you. Really? Okay. And how many of you would take Harris and Liz Cheney? 1 of you. So this is really about Haley specifically as the Republican. For those of you who would take that combination. Okay, so it's not about having 2 parties, it's about having specifically Nikki Haley. Is that what I'm hearing? Very quickly, just tell me why Dale, tell me why that would work for you and the other ones wouldn't.
Well, I think Nikki Haley would, she's bound to be president. She'll be in the next running and she'll get it.
Okay. And why does that matter compared to like Romney or?
I just think Nikki Haley's put together. She's a complete package.
Okay. Got it. All right.